What is up, world? You are in tune to Marvelous Talk, and you have got your usual suspects here on this Thursday afternoon where we got football on Amazon Prime, but we're about to get into some Marvelous Talk, and there's a lot to talk about this week, man. I'm going to tell you. But I'm here with my player partners, Big Max. What's up, Max? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. We have a Star Wars show to talk about for the first time in weeks, and I'm excited.
Yes, we do. We got 3 episodes of Andor that we need to run over and go over. And there's also always we got She-Hulk talk. And we got the She-Hulk connoisseur, the She-Hulk I want to get with, the She-Hulk fan and chick magnet, man magnet, let's say, Big G. Big G, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. As you can see what my headgear is, we got a little something brewing in the background, but I'm always going to take time to talk Marvel, Star Wars, comic book, movies, MCU. So I'm ready to get it in. So let's go. Let's go with this Marvelous talk.
Definitely got a lot here to talk about, man. But listen, before we do, make sure, man, if you're enjoying the content that we are presenting, make sure that you like and subscribe. Like and subscribe on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube so that when we go live, you can definitely get that notification, the little bell that's saying, hey, we up in here. And we definitely do this for you and for yours. But, man, we're going to get this thing started. Let's get this party started right. Let's get it started quickly. And I'm going to tell you like this. We got to go, man. And I'm going to get this thing to Max. We're going to get it going.
So usually, guys, you know how we do it. I run through it real quick. But we got 4 episodes of TV to talk about, of streaming. So we're just going to break it down as we go through. Does that sound good to you guys?
Definitely.
That sound good to me. Yeah,
so we're going to let's start with Andor, because I was hyped. Me and Maud had talked about this is their Star Wars really got to hit this one out the park. And we're going to get into it. So before we see anybody on the screen, we see the words 5BBY. G, as an avid Star Wars comic reader, as an avid Star Wars fan, Maud, same to you. What did it mean to you to just see that in the flesh for a change, not on the written page of a book, not in a comic? 5BBY. Explain to what it is to the people and what it means to you.
Well, I said this off camera with Max. It's the first time you had any reference to the comic book, or any reference to what we used to know as canon, what we used to know as far as whatever. So it was absolutely great to see them reference the BBY term. The terminology for BBY, and I don't want to mess this up, what you actually call it. Max, what does the B stand for?
I don't want to sound before Battle of Yavin. That's how they usually date stuff. Before at the last battle of Episode 4, where the first Death Star is destroyed.
Yes. And so most people, unless you know the Easter egg or the reference point of the original Star Wars trilogy and or the comic books, you have no reference point to that. But me, as being an old school avid fan, I've been rocking with Star Wars since the 70s. It was great to see it, because now I think they're trying to blend the old with the new and give reference, and maybe make some of that stuff that we know or we call canon that ain't canon no more canon. So I was hyped. I was hyped just to see the words. First time on the screen ever.
What about you, Maud? Did it strike a chord with you, or you were just kind of like, let me get to the action?
I was like, let's get to the action. Let's get to the money, man. Because literally, the gist of the matter, and I have to say this before we get going, man. Honestly, I was kind of lost. So I wanted to see where we were going to start, how we were going to start. Because, you know me. I have to say this like it is, man. I only watched Rogue One once. It ended so horribly for me. I was like, man, listen, I can't do this, man. Like, I mean, for real. And I had to skip through the whole movie before I watched Andor. I skipped through the whole movie, and I went back and I watched the end, and I said, okay, so Andor is my lead character. All right, let's go. All right, so I got it, and it all flooded my mind again, and I was ready. So I was missing the little stuff, but I was catching a lot of the big stuff.
Yeah.
And there's no shortage of action throughout this first episode. We jump into it. And this is a side of Star Wars we're not used to seeing. George Lucas used to say these movies are for kids. Well, this movie doesn't start off, this show, does not start off like it's for kids.
Nah.
He's in what I would describe as a bar/brothel. And there's two guys mean mugging him from across the way who work for the security of the planet, the big corporation. And we see he's looking for somebody. He doesn't want the girl who comes up. He wants a girl from Kenari. We don't know anything about Kenari. The two guys are me mugging him. He's like, what are you looking at me for? I'm just here. Just mind my business. He doesn't get what he hopes. The girl has left the club. She used to be there, but this was months ago. Yeah. What's her real name? Nobody uses their real name here.
Exactly.
And Andor walks through the rain. I mean, maybe he's like on the Seattle planet of the galaxy. But
he said the Seattle planet.
Yeah, Camino. Maybe it's a sister planet of Camino.
Yeah,
but the two guys jump him and they want his credits. He's like, I got 300 in my pocket.
Yeah.
And did you guys automatically know, like, oh, he's about to pop off on these
I knew it was about to go bad. I mean, first of all, why you want him that close to you? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Why you want him that close? I didn't know that he was going to kill the dude, but I knew it was going to be bad.
Well, spoilers, Mod. We're getting there. Yeah. So when he goes the other pocket, I was like, oh no. He's like, get a little closer. He headbutts the one, drops the other guy, has him with the blaster point, and he's like, get up. He's like, help your friend up. And Andor, and I truly believe he did not mean to kill the first guy. The first guy was an accident. He headbutted him, he slipped, snapped his neck. And then the second guy, please. And this is something in Star Wars we usually haven't seen either. We see pleading for the life. Yeah. And maybe the only other time we saw this was Anakin and Obi-Wan, but he wasn't really pleading for his life. He was saying how much he hated Obi-Wan. And Andor puts this guy down like a dog, like a sick dog.
Yeah. Hey, but Max, the whole thing is this, bro. This is right after the Republic turns to the Empire and they take over. This is before Rogue One. This is all so lawlessness was at an all-time peak. So that's why I knew it was going down like that, because we're straight lawless times.
In my mind, this is, but if I'm correct in assuming this, and I think I'm right, 20 years is the gap between 3 and 4.
Correct.
So this is year 15.
Correct.
And the Emperor, and we can kind of gather this from little stuff we learned at the end of episode 3. The Empire's in control, but you've been doing it for 15 years. You know, it can get a little stale. It's not as cool as the first 5 years. There's nothing really happening. Yeah. It's kind of like it's like the Warriors when you're in year 4 with Kevin Durant. You're kind of like, we have to coach the team. We have to get excited. And I think when he puts that guy down like a dog, you immediately know this isn't a Jedi. This isn't really, the Mandalorian has a code. Andor's just like, nah, I'm surviving, bro. It's me or you.
Yeah, his code is survival. And you're clear about this. You're clear about in Andor that his and what's his first name again? His first
Cassian.
Cassian. Yeah, you're clear that Cassian is definitely a survivor, and that's what he's gonna do. Now go ahead, Max, because there's something I wanted to talk about that I didn't quite. That I think I understand now, but I want to see if you guys caught it too as well.
So after this, he leaves the planet, and I would break the episode up like this. There's three arcs happening. It's the present day Andor. It's the Deputy Inspector Khan, I believe his name is.
That's his name. That's his name.
We have the flashback. So we're gonna wait till the end of like this part of it. We're gonna hit the flashbacks all together because it's kind of all out of order throughout the show. He gets back, and there's this really sweet droid, I would say B2EMO. So B2 Emo.
Brand new guy. That's what I call him. Brand new.
He's brand new droid,
guy.
Sean, but he's not brand new because he's Sean need power. He is struggling, man. You can tell Andor comes from not a great place, and it's pretty evident that this guy, like you said, this kind of just beats home to you, like he's surviving. Yeah. It's not pretty. It's not a palace on Naboo. It's not Coruscant. It's just backwoods planet.
Hey, Max, did y'all peep the part where the android said he needed the extra boost power to be able to lie? That tripped me. I was like, what the droid got to have extra power to lie? He said, yeah, I lie, but because I'm on the backup battery. And I'm like, say what? You need power to lie? Oh my God, I lost it. I was like, oh yeah, this is Star Wars. So let's go. This Star Wars, let's go.
Do you think that's like a thing for all droids, Mod, or is that just like this droid specifically? Or is he capping?
First of all, I don't know. When it comes to this droid, brand new droid, he looks first of all, looks like a trash can.
He's had better days.
Slinky trash can, you know what I'm saying? Like he's a slinky. You remember the old school slinkies? He looked like a slinky trash can, and I was like, yeah, it's Oscar the Grouch in there or something. I don't know. So but the thing about it is when we originally, and we'll deal with this in the flashback, when we originally seen him, he doesn't look rickety. Now he looks like he done went through, some battles and some struggles, and he's just barely getting by. So, but definitely I'm waiting on you to move because I got some punches.
Okay. Let me speed it up just a bit. So we go to Morlano 1, the headquarters where two men are going over the events of what happened to Cassian. They found the two guards. We don't know what happens. And this part to me was very realistic in the sense that this one guy, the older gentleman, was like the chief deputy inspector was like, it's okay. We got a meeting. I don't really want to report this right now. Just brush it under the rug. I don't want to see a report. This other guy, though, he's like, no, I got to fire my belly. Two of the comrades are gone. We got to hunt these guys down. And he starts picking up the trail on Caspian.
Yeah.
And this guy's a horrible boss. That people aren't going to get overtime. It sucks. But this guy's all about the truth. And it's funny that we make him the bad guy, but is he actually bad?
He's a hater. He's straight up a hater. I just want I want you to know something. This dude, first and foremost, defied a direct order. And for his own rocks, to make his own marks, to get his own rocks, he went and did something he was not supposed to do. Gross misuse of power and conduct. And he started a chain reaction of things unknowingly, you know what I'm saying, that actually kind of put the whole revolution together. So his hate started the whole revolution, started the whole thing.
But here's my thing. If this was the hero, let's just say Cassian was defying orders, like let's say Poe defied orders in some of the new Star Wars movie, Oscar Isaac's character, you're like, yeah, they're wrong. What's different about this guy? Is it because we equivalent him with the Empire a little bit and he's in power? So what's the line? Because all he's trying to do is get to the bottom of two murders, which it kind of was, but it kind of wasn't at the same time. Because those dudes, they were jerks, but Cassian did put them down like a dog.
No, but let's see. The gist of the matter is the older gentleman accurately depicted the situation. Cassian was well within his rights to do what he did. Right. And the older gentleman told him, he said, what happened was these dudes were dirty. They were in a place they shouldn't have been.
Right.
Thinking stuff they couldn't afford on their salary, because I know what I pay them.
All in the brothel. All in the brothel. All in the brothel.
In the brothel, right? And then they were on a street with no cameras chasing this guy. So they ran into the wrong person and caught a bad one. They got what they were supposed to get. Let's move on. We ain't got to research because we're going to see that's going to bring the dirt back on us.
Yeah.
Right? That's what he was saying. That's going to bring the dirt back on us. And this dude didn't understand that because he was young, dumb, and full of something, and he wanted to go prove himself. And
But I got a question. Does this make sense to you guys too, as far as the character, the guy, the young guy that was against the old guy? He doesn't know any better because he grew up in the era where the Empire and they was always in charge. It was always about them. Where the old guy knows the time before when, we're going to let legislative law and stuff work its way out, A, B, C, and D. The young guy is all self-centered and all about him. And I think that speaks to the era that he grew up in, because he can't be that much. He was a baby, basically, when the Republic turned into the Empire. So that's something I picked up just in that scene.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, G and Mod. But I just think it's funny. It's just interesting to the point where, like, if in a different lens, you would be like, yeah, he's just trying to hunt down the murderer. but we're just rooting for Cassian because we kind of know at the end of the day he's going to play a really important part in the rebellion.
Yeah.
So I think this is an interesting part about Cassian. We see him interact with Brazo, with Bix, with a guy who's shaking him down for money. I would say he's in the process of burning bridges, or maybe not burning bridges. He's wearing people out. People are like, I'm so done with this guy. He owes us money. He just kind of uses us. The Pegla, the guy he used the ship from, is like, dude, you can't do this crap anymore. Like, you're gonna get us all in trouble.
Right.
So it's interesting to see the hero of the show, but he's not really acting heroic, is he?
No. But that's what the rebellion is born out of. The rebellion is born out of guys or people or creatures or aliens that had to come together for one cause and one cause only, because it was over. Really, when Republic transferred to the Empire, it was a wrap. So you had to get all these oddballs of the land of misfit toys to come together and handle their business, because if not, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. And he definitely don't fit the character line of a hero. That's just my spin.
Big G, Max, both of y'all, real quick, so we can continue to matriculate through this episode. I have to say that that's wrong. His nature was, if you go back, because we're flat the flashback. That's why they put this in here to kind of show you who this guy was, who Cassian really was from the jump. Cassian was a guy who led with his feelings first.
Yeah.
Right. He led with his feelings first, but was fearless. Right. And wanted to always, he had so much built up rage inside of him that he had to do what he had to do, but he was family oriented. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
He started out looking for somebody, which happened to be his sister, and he wasn't causing no trouble. Now, to the other people, it was stress, because this guy's high strung, he's emotion led, he obviously knows how to fight, because you know what I'm saying. So he done probably put on a couple times and whooped a couple people, and they done had to cover for him. So that's the thing that I got more than he was a troublemaker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is a type of guy, just from these episodes, that definitely asks for a lot of favors and probably doesn't repay those favors back. And sometimes that's just kind of how it is. And basically, the way the episode ends is he hits up Bix, who huge ex-girlfriend vibes. He has something to sell. He has something very valuable to sell.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend, Tim. We're going to talk about Tim a lot later on. Remember that name.
Second
hater. No. King hater. But he needs to get off the planet, because this inspector, he's kind of getting the ball rolling. He's like, so I know something happened. I know this guy about Kantari. I know it's coming up.
Yeah.
So before we move on to episode 2, this is the flashback, and I'm going to recap it real quick. He falls asleep after murdering the 2 guards, and we see what I can only describe as a very basic tribe. Like, they have spears. They don't have technology. When they see the Republic spaceship falling out of the sky, it's almost like, what in the God's name is that? The look on their faces. It's very it's very, what would be the word here? Ancient, very.
So I got a question. Are they outer realm? Are they like inside?
They're in the mid rim. They're in the middle of the galaxy. Because they said later in the episode, mid rim planet Kantari.
They said that because they called them a mid rim.
And they're doing like very native rituals to the planet with face paint. They speak in they have clicks in the language. It's like almost Tusken Raiderish, I would say.
Chewbaccan.
Wookiean.
Like I said, it's very primitive.
That's the word. Thank you.
It's very primitive in the sense that they're just they got it's not spears. They got blow darts. They like hitting you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like they got blow darts that they hit you with. They can't shoot nothing. It ain't no bang bang or pop house. You know what I'm saying?
I got a better comparison. They're Ewokian. They're like the Ewoks, the Ewokians.
I like it. I like it. Ewokian. Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's very weird to see we think the Wookiees are basic, but they have space travel. There's Wookiees in the galaxy. This group of people, unless that ship had never landed there, none of them were ever going to see the stars. None of them were ever going to see technology.
Nope.
They were never going to see a spaceship like this. For Star Wars, for a show that's so based on the future, it's almost like a zig the other way to the almost most ancient primitive of times.
Right. But Max, that speaks to what I say was the theme of the show. Like I said, it's the land of misfit toys. You see this guy's beginning and know that he would. It's almost like he was like there was somebody laid a path and he had to walk through it because he's the guy that brought it all together. You know what I'm saying? So how could you get a primitive guy that don't know nothing about technology, space, and all that stuff be basically the foundation of the rebellion? So it was good to see. I like that characterization of him. That's where he came from, and then later on up the road, we see what he actually becomes. So I like the flashback, me personally.
Yeah, and I mean, lastly, we think of Tatooine as kind of a poor planet, a backwoods planet.
Yeah,
they are miles and light years ahead of this planet, Kentari.
They in Wyoming, man.
Shout out to all the people in Wyoming. I'm sorry, that's messed up.
They're in Wyoming.
Did you guys notice the sinus issue?
Yeah,
everybody had.
Yeah.
So and when the people landed, they had to have on masks, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, that being from Qatari, that they have adapted to where they could breathe the air, right? And these other guys couldn't, and that's why it kept the sinus thing was there the whole time. It was, every time you see it, everybody was stiffening. I'm like, man, what's going on? Everybody got COVID or something? What is it?
But did you see when the spaceship blew up? So like it blew up, and then there was another chemical trail.
We're a little too early, guys. We're a little too early. We're jumping the gun a little bit. I love the enthusiasm. We're gonna get there. We can call that episode 1 in a nutshell, right, guys?
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
All right, now let's go to episode 2, and we start off, and there's a guy who's at the top of this tower, G and Mod, and he's beating a metallic block almost like a bell. I don't know how you guys felt. That was kind of one of the cooler little scenes to me in the whole show.
Yeah. I mean, can you say
he was the town rooster? Yeah, he was
sounding an alarm. He was sounding an alarm.
He was like, wake up, everybody! It's time to go to work. He was like the town rooster.
Yeah. But I think it was like he was sounding the alarm, but I think it was sort of Paul Revere's too.
Yeah, that guy might be Paul Revere as we go on. So Cassian's wandering around town. We see all the people Cassian's worn out his relationship with: Nurchi, Pegla, Bix.
Yeah.
And these are the people that he's interacted with, and they all are kind of doing him favors. He's avoiding them. He owes them money. And we see Bix and Tim are at the shop where he discovers that Bix sees a message that someone's looking for a Kentari male.
Yeah.
In the murder of 2 guards. Yeah. And I think this was kind of excellent. If you guys watch House of Dragon, in the first episode, they do this thing where they go 155 years. They have like this whole little passage, and then they get rid of all the letters except for the part that's like key. It's like 150 years before Daenerys Targaryen. And they were like, Kentari, male, looking for, blinking. And it was like, oh, just say Cassian. That would even quicker, guys.
Right.
So that happens. And our favorite Kentari guy goes to his mom's house, and she's like, hey, where have you been, dude? What's going on? He's feeding her the lies. You know, a mother always knows when you're lying, G.
Right.
You know when one of your kids is lying. I know you know. You can't lie to mom.
You can't lie to mom or dad. But, that's who he is. He's well, I'm gonna let you keep finish because he's got to be deceptive because that builds his character. But keep going.
And we find out his mom lied about all his stuff, and Cassian's been in an Imperial prison before, and they say he's confessed.
My point exact. That's the point that I was going to say before you said that. The apple don't fall too far from the tree because the mama be lying too, just like he lies. So I'm like, come on, get out of here, man. You can't call him on this stuff. You cut up. But anyway.
So they lie about being born on Fest. Bix and Cassian meet at a bar, and the good news is the buyer's on the way. He's gonna come get that NS9 unit that he stole from the Imperials. And Tim, who is being a creep, and way to not trust your woman, bro. Way to not have any trust in her. He's like
trash. He might be the trashiest. he might be the trashiest character
And
I've ever seen in Star Wars.
Bix and Cassian aren't like flirting. They're not like kissing. Yeah, they have a little moment, but it was just like a friend thing. It was like, holy crap, like I'm about to be a wanted man.
Yeah.
And Tim is so jealous. He drinks himself into a stupor. He goes and he does what I consider the 11th sin.
Yeah.
Or what is it, like the 8th deadly sin?
Yeah,
I don't know how many deadly sins there are, but he snitches.
That's number 9. That's number 9.
I don't know how many there are. 7 deadly sins. But
one.
this guy.
Yeah, man, it was terrible to me to watch Tim. And Tim sounds like a hater name. Tim sounds
with
like
2 M's, I might add. Tim with 2 M's.
2 M's. So
and the Y isn't where you think it is, guys.
Yeah. Hey, Tim, snitches get stitches, bro. Snitches get stitches, bro.
But you know, the gist of the matter is that he got all liquored up. He got all liquored up and went over there stumbling, and he went and got and just snitched. I'm talking about dry snitch, not just a regular. It was a dry snitch because they had no leads. But because of his lead, he dry snitched and then set up and felt really silly when she came to the room. Now here's where you should have came clean, bro. This is where you should have came clean. You should have said, you know what? I followed you today, which sounds worse anyway. It sounds like an Orange Juice Jones song. You know, where were you at, baby? I followed you. You know what I'm saying? I saw you out there with that man.
Please, you know 2,000 references only, please.
I'm just saying, you know, it sounded stalkerish. You know what I'm saying? Really police-like. Every breath you take, every move you make, I'll be watching you.
Hey, Max, he hitting them old school references out the park.
I know this song. Unfortunately, my dad's about your age. You're pretty old, but I'm sorry. But I think this is another scene in Star Wars you're not used to seeing, where literally it's like a booty call. It's literally it's about to get hot and heavy. Tim might come clean, and maybe in a different way. I don't know. But that's horrible. I'm sorry, guys. But and then they have the most awkward of mornings, I might add. It's like he's like making coffee, and she's like, "What's up?" He's like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Nothing. Just tired." Like, what's going on, Tim?
Tell the truth, Tim. Tell the truth. You a snitcher. You're a habitual snitcher. That's just
I'm gonna use Ma's reference point of something he always says. I hope all the bad things in the world happen to Tim and only Tim, because Tim is bad, man. Tim is horrible,
we might touch on that a little later, guys. I'll just put it like that. And we go back to the basically the Imperials of the episode. We see Inspector Karn, and we meet a guy named Linus Musk. And speaking of Tim and Bix getting hot and heavy, these two dudes are getting hot and heavy in a different way with each other. These guys are a duo quite like Shaq and Kobe, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Ike and Tina, Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston. They're just a duo. I think that's the best way to put it, guys. What do you think?
So you saying they water and oil. They vinegar and vinegar and apple juice.
There's parts of them that I'm like, they really work, but there's parts where it's like, you guys shouldn't be within a 2-mile radius of each other. Because one guy's like, yeah, you tell him, sir. Yeah. Let's go. We got to show force. Oh, yeah. I'll report you. Yeah. Let's do it. I'm like, oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Please break this marriage up. Please.
Yeah, for sure. They are.
It stays together. But I can just tell you one thing. Buddy's in trouble. I keep waiting for the shoe to drop on Buddy, because it's going to drop on him in a major way. But let's go.
So the only other thing I would say that's like, there's 2 key things. We have the flashbacks, of course, we're going to hit on the end. But we see a guy, Stellan Skarsgård, who's just been in about everything. He's the theology, the astrophysicist from Thor. His name is Luther Rail. He's landing on the planet. We don't know what he's up to. This really annoying guy on the bus is just like, hey, what are you up to, man? Come on. Bro, people don't like to be talked to on travel.
I promise you, there's always one. I promise you.
And it's a little sad, because you know that guy who's talking a lot probably has no one in his life. His wife probably passed away a couple years ago. Probably got murdered by a stormtrooper.
Wow.
But I'm just trying to make you guys feel for him.
But I'm saying that still speaks to the reference of this whole storyline of Andor. Everybody has been separated because of the Empire. And it's like, that's why you're seeing all these oddball, one-off type characters. And if you don't know Star Wars, you wouldn't get it. You don't understand the fact that the universe more or less was in harmony because the Jedi had kept it that way forever. You had little stuff raising up. Now you went from where the Empire had taken over, and it's not all for one for all anymore. It's all about me and mine. And so that's why you're seeing these characters depicted that way. At least me. That's what I picked up on.
Yeah, and definitely. So he's definitely going for Bix. You can tell that's her contact. They're gonna meet up. Is Karn and Musk ready the troops? It seems like it's all coming to a head. They know it's Cassian. They know who he is. They have his picture. They believe he's from Kentari. And let's hit the flashbacks and we'll call it an episode. So the crashed spaceship and the tribe, they're looking at it. They are bewildered. They have no clue what it is. They have never seen anything like this. And they've never even seen this type of technology. They move closer in, and we see one dead pilot. They prod him with a stick. And again, they're not out there to kill these guys. They're like just investigating. They're like, what is this? I don't know what this is. So then they prod the second guy. As the second guy gets prodded, the first guy stands up and absolutely just blast the chieftain of the tribe or the little leader of the kids. And then he starts eating blow darts. What I mean by eating is he took about 25 of them to put him down.
Hey, man, they hit him with a ton of them, and he was still just sitting up there, yeah.
And it was kind of sad to see the chief girl just get blown away because she didn't do anything wrong. She was just like curious. And it's not the pilot's fault, but it's not her fault. It's just kind of like they don't know each other. You're in a foreign place. Scary.
Right. Without her death, there's no Andor. So, that's just the bottom line. She had to go. That, like you said, they wasn't trying to hurt or harm them. They just,
said, well, you got to go, Charlie.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you're hurtful, man.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
When it's your time to go, it's your time to go, unfortunately, in the Star Wars galaxy.
Wow.
Think about the people Darth Vader choked just to get Obi-Wan to come out and play. They did nothing wrong. They were minding their business. They didn't even snitch like Tim.
Yeah. It's the way of the Empire. That we take by force. We take by force, man. We don't care nothing about.
That's a good point. That's the way of the Empire. You're absolutely right.
And that concludes our episode 2. I would say episode 1 was better than episode 2, and episode 2 is just building it up for episode 3.
Yeah.
Episode 3. Go ahead, G. Before we.
But Max, I'll say this. For the end, for those of you guys that aren't real true Star Wars fans, and I told Max this off screen, and I think Maud caught part of the conversation, that if you're not a true Star Wars person or like old school when they were in Marvel Comics and all whatever else, this is where you can get lost because you don't really understand what's going on. And that's my critique about episodes 1 and 2. They drug it out so far, man, and it's like, okay, how you going to bring this all back together to connect it to Rogue One? So they're way out there right now. So, you'll get lost. So the episodes drag on.
So
a lot of action, but they drag on,
Here's the deal. I can't totally agree with that, Big G. You're right in the fact that you can get lost. Because I was sort of lost in the very beginning, right? But I think they're doing an excellent job trying to reel us in to say, okay, here's who Cassian was.
Yeah.
This is who Cassian was, right?
Yeah.
So, because if you don't, Rogue One, Cassian dies. Spoiler alert, don't watch the movie. It's horrible. You know what I'm saying? Cassian dies.
He's such a hater, man. He's a hater. But keep going.
Rebellions are built on hope.
A tidal wave tore him out and just tore him apart. Him and the first girlfriend that he ever had seemed like, you know what I'm saying? Just tore him
That's definitely not his first girlfriend. What are you talking about? They allude that he sleeps around.
Man, listen.
Maybe the first woman he truly loved.
Listen, man, probably he loved the girl.
They went through a lot.
That boy living a brothel life, man. He's living that brothel life.
City boy life. I'm just gonna put it like that. But look, let's hit episode 3, guys. We're halfway through. or 2/3 of the way through. Cassian goes to visit his friend Brasso and say, "Hey, I need you to watch over my mother." He's making his kind of final round, his last goodbye, his final goodbye. Luther Rail meets up with Bix. He's like, "I need this NS9 unit. Where can I find it?" They set up the meet, but Inspector Karn, Linus Musk, they are hot on the trail, guys. They are rolling in. They got it seems like 20 bad guys. They are ready to use some police brutality. They're ready to abuse that power we love to talk about.
Yeah.
But this is where I think the episode really hits. Bix figures out that there's a snitch because one of the guys is like, somebody snitched. There's no way they knew it was him. Shout out to Tim and shout out to Bix for not supporting her man in a time like this. She is, and I dare say, absolutely repulsed and disgusted by Tim's actions.
Yeah.
And she should be.
And she should be.
Because Tim's a mark.
Yeah.
Tim is a mark.
Hey, he hit him with that California terminology. He called him a straight mark.
He was straight.
Yeah.
Mark. Ain't nothing but a mark. You know
Yeah. No, but see, he's straight up a mark in every sense of the word. And she's like, how did you know? I told you, didn't I? Like, she was vulnerable with him and told him a huge secret. Because in episode 1, she's like, how many people have we told? He's like, we told her family. She's like, oh, that's family. No problem. And Andor's family, I think, is big in some of the people in his life.
Yeah.
Well, let's put it like this. That whole planet rock with each other. Right. And they support each other. The whole planet. That whole planet rock with it, which we'll see later in this episode. But they all rock with each other. So, Tim was, he was the mark in the whole. He was the wafer. He was the snitch. Because there's always one. There's always a Steven in your Django. There's always a Steven there, man. You know what I'm saying? Always a hater in the midst of your jungle. There's always a hater.
And the cops, they find Cassian's mom's house. They're shaking it down. People are seeing, and the people are like, no, this isn't happening. They're kind of getting rowdy. They all start beating on metal. And to quote his mom, and she says it a little later in the episode, that's the sound of a reckoning. And put yourself in the mind of one of these security forces. How can you not be scared? How can you not be afraid that the whole planet's turning against you?
Right.
What do you guys think?
Right. I agree. I agree 150%. That's straight up. That's reality. Where I was like sort of accepted and blended. Now all of a sudden everybody's all against me. Oh man, I'm scared. I'm petrified.
Yeah, they was in there shaking like a church fan on a hot Sunday. I mean, for real, it was getting bad, man. It was getting, because they were like, what you mean? They were looking around. Well, so what you mean when it stopped? When it stopped?
And she playing my games with those two. I'm gonna say it again, marks, because they get all shaken and scared and like, oh my god, what is happening right now?
Right.
But Bix has set the meet between Luther and Cassian. And how long did it take you guys to realize this wasn't about the box?
No,
the box was the least important thing to him.
Right.
I kind of caught it early, and I'm gonna say when he kept saying when you have good writing, when they put stuff in twice or they mention it twice or even 3 times, they're doing it because they want you to catch it.
Right.
And she kept telling him, or he kept telling her, you already said he wants to meet me. You already said he wants to meet me. You said he wants to meet me. He said it 3 times. Why did he want to meet you, Cassian?
Right.
And it's about you that was so special. So I knew it wasn't entirely about the box.
G, what about you? How long did it take you to figure it out?
I knew almost from the beginning, because that was the whole thing. So goods and services can get traded anywhere, anytime, in any place. I mean, we're after the fall of the Republic. So it's never the only item I've ever seen in Star Wars lore that they actually start hunting down is the crystals that make the lightsabers.
The kyber crystals,
The kyber crystals and the stuff to build the Death Star. Everything else is interchangeable. So I knew from the beginning, when you start talking about, this little box, the fact is that they wanted to meet each other because there's something going on right there. Who
would you guys say is the last person to figure out that it's not about the box?
Cassian.
Yep.
Cassian's like, how much do you want for? Get me the money. How much can you give me for it? And Luther is like, I know they hung your dad. I know. And he's like, how do you know that? And he's
Yep.
like, and then he tells him, I'm not here for the box. I'm here for you. I'm here for
Right.
something bigger. And
Right.
right there, he's like, I see something in you.
Right.
And I mean, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. And Cassian's just like, no, I
Hey, where the
just need
money
my,
at?
I just want my bread.
I just want the
Yeah.
money.
A true man of the streets just wants
Yeah.
his bread, doesn't want to worry about the rebellion.
Right.
And he keeps asking him, he's pestering him, how'd you get the box? I'll pay you more money. He's like, I'll pay you an extra 1,000. He's like, just walked in and took it.
Right.
And this is where we alluded to a little bit earlier in the episode. The Empire got fat. Empire's like, shh, ain't nobody gonna touch me.
I mean, when they went from the Republic, where they was trying to work stuff out with the droids and all whatever else they was trying to do all of that, to where they was like, nah, bro. When they became the Empire, they like, we hauling out everybody. Matter of fact, we gonna take your stuff and anything else you make on top of that, we gonna take that too, and then charge you interest on top of what we took. So I mean, they really was on one, you know.
Yeah,
so
I mean, the Emperor and Vader were in power at this time. They didn't care. They was hauling everybody.
They knew they couldn't be touched.
Right.
And
yeah,
honestly, they had an error about them, and this is how this kind of is going to lead to their demise. That they think just because they have some power doesn't mean they think they're invincible. But the truth is, this is maybe the first crack of the Empire we're seeing it in Cassian, where he breaks in, he does that. But the security force finds them too. And this is where you can kind of see Cassian's a little bit out of his league when he's with Luther. Luther's like, okay, how many are there? He's like, oh, I put sticky charges on all the doors. He's like, when? He's like, when I got here.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you, a rookie? And the truth is, this isn't Cassian in Rogue One. He's a novice. He's still learning. He doesn't know anything. He hasn't even hired yet.
Correct. He's like I said, he's the land of the misfit toys. The mug, he's the Jack in the Box. His name is Harold. You know what I'm saying? Like, he the Jack in the Box, and his name is Harold. His name, he said, my name ain't Jack, my name's Harold. You know, like, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's the land of misfit toys. But he's gonna eventually become the guy that we know that's gonna help found the whole rebellion. We know that for sure.
And so as you can, like, there's this amazing fight where there's engines hanging above them. And this is Cassian's, like, I would say, biggest mess up the episode. He's like too concerned about the box. I'm like, bro, you got the job.
Still trying to go get the
and he almost gets crushed by like 18 engines. He almost gets Luther killed all for this dumb box.
For the box,
but
bro.
it was awesome television. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How'd you guys feel about the just the fight in the warehouse?
All of it. I mean, I think from 1 through 3, the graphics, the storyline, the plot, the characterization is great. It's something different from Star Wars, even though we know what's the end result is. I like that because they can't just keep revisiting the fact the Sith versus the Jedi. They got to tell different stories. So I actually enjoyed it personally. I give it a 7.5, 8 across the board for all 3.
What about you, Mod? I'm just strictly speaking because G has to always never listen to Max. Thanks, G. I'm just kidding. I love you, bro. What did you guys think just about the warehouse fight? Just that action scene? Because we've criticized other shows for action. What did you guys think about this action?
Pure action. I loved it. I was just mad at Cassian. So that's how I know it was good, because I was mad at Cassian for jumping to try to go get the box is still out there. Brother, if you don't leave the daggone box alone, and then he looks back from my boy and he's like, man, I told you to cover me. Where were you at? And all of a sudden, he comes out from the side blasting people. And you could tell, like Max said, you could tell Cassian was out of his league. Like, this guy's special. He's good.
He's still thinking like a survivalist. He's like, I need to get what's mine.
Yeah.
So G, what did you think about just the action scene? Did you like it?
Yeah, well, like I said, it's a different thing. It ain't lightsabers, and I guess that's the part I left out. It's not lightsabers, Jedi versus Sith, or stormtroopers fighting off. You know, it's a different level of action vibe. That's what I meant to say. I sort of just pushed to the end, but that's what I was trying to say.
No, I appreciate it. No, I was just giving you a hard time. So we're gonna get to my favorite scene of the episode, and we see Bix. She's getting held down by a security. They're like roughing her up. They got her handcuffed, and Tim shows up, and I guess he wants redemption, but he just suicides via cop.
Yeah.
And it brought a smile to my face, I have to say.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tim, you're out of here, Tim. You're out of here.
That was a Mark move. He was just like, let her go. Who did this? I'm like, bro, they got guns. You ain't got nothing.
Right.
Like, what you think they're gonna do? They're gonna put you to sleep.
Yeah, I agree. I
Like,
don't disagree.
I think this was the worst like scene in the episode because it was so dumb. Because Tim's just like, hey, stop that. And the cop's like, bro, I'll shoot you. He's like, stop right now.
Well,
The cop's like, I'm gonna shoot you.
It was literally his redemption. You know, this
But
was
I don't even think he got redemption. He's still a Mark.
well, no, he didn't. He died a Kirk. I'm just gonna go old school Western term. He still died a Kirk. You know what I'm saying? Died a coward. You know, but the gist of the matter is that she still felt something. That was you know, a telltale sign for me when she was still like, man, Tim, I'm sorry. Like, you know, her hurt and her anger for him didn't keep her from mourning Tim. And I thought that was good. And it's kind of showing you the type of people that we're dealing with in Andor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And as we wrap up the episode, there's only a few more things that happen. They basically get the drop on Karn. They load up a speeder with explosives. They kill most of the forces like coming after them, other than Musk and Karn. And Karn is like catatonic. He's like, "What just happened? Oh my god, I can't believe it." He's frozen. He's like Big G when he saw the Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer.
Everybody was like when they saw the Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer. It wasn't just Big G. Don't put that all on me, bro.
I always say because I love you, but so let me hit the flashbacks real quick, and then I'll hit the last scene. Andor's exploring the ship with his spear and his blow gun, and he's just beating the ship with a piece of wood, which is honestly a little comical. And this is where Maud alluded to, and I think G mentioned the stuff with the mask. They're like, oh, we can breathe in here. We'll be okay for 10 minutes. And we see, I guess, a guy who looks like Apollo Creed, Clem. I don't know why. He just reminded me of Apollo Creed. But we see his mother, and they rescue him. And he doesn't want to go. They take him off the planet because they know, like, this planet's going to get wiped from existence when the Republic finds out about this. And then as the episode concludes, guys, we see the parallels between Cassian leaving his planet and Cassian leaving this planet. And I thought it was the best shot in the whole show.
I thought it was really good.
It was the maturation of Cassian.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really good, man. I dug it totally. I like the fact that the captain got his hat handed to him, and his little crony got a chance to see that well, I mean, he had already saw it with the speech where he's like, and we're gonna go out here and we're gonna like dump them, and you guys are just awesome. You know, he basically gave the most horrible inspiration speech ever, right? So that was the first time he saw the crack, and then seeing him standing in front of the blew up car or the blew up speeder, you know, like, oh man, what did I do? That was so satisfying for me, because I'm like, yo, this is what you get. You stuck your hand in something that you weren't prepared to finish, and this is what happens to you. And then watching Cassie and them, and then the parody of him leaving his home planet for the first time, leaving his second home planet for the second time, it's just, yo, that was dope. That was dope.
I agree. No more points for me, but I agree.
So, G, you said this gave you, it was an 8, 7.5. What was it?
7.5 or 8.
Are you looking forward to next week a lot, or just did it reel you in? Would be the big thing.
No, it didn't. I mean, I'm gonna watch it because I'm a fan, but it didn't. Not to me. It'll be. I mean, it's entertaining, but like I said, it's not. You know, it's not like, oh my god, I gotta watch it. It ain't. It's not that.
Is it better than Obi-Wan?
No.
Mod, what about you? What would you rate this 1 out of 10?
Solid 8. A solid 8. And I would have to say, if you go in with a new mindset like I did, you know, because honestly, I had to go back and rewatch to find out who Cassian was, right? Because I totally forgot. Like, Rogue One was one of those things that was off my radar. Appreciating it for what it was really good. It was an 8. it's not going to be as good as, you know, your Obi-Wans, or because you're familiar with those characters. But this is a brand new. I think they succeeded in doing what they're trying to do, which is to bring people back into the Star Wars world. And this is the way you're going to have to be able to do it.
I had 2 more questions about. I would give it a 8.5. I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was good, and me and G said this off camera. The 3rd episode, watching them 3 back to back, it dragged a little bit, just because it's a lot of TV to watch. An hour and a half. It's like almost like a movie. And would this show? I got 2 things. Would this show be better if Rogue One had never come out? If you didn't know Cassian's ultimate fate?
Yes, it would have
Yeah.
been.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And we rolled all of those events into this. Yes.
Oh, that would be epic. I
because we would have had a chance to grow with Cassian, and like, I mean, I grew with him during that movie, but I was mad that he died. But I'm well more invested now. I'm well more invested. May even make me go back and watch Rogue One.
Rogue One's a good movie. Me and G stand by that.
It's pointless.
Is there anything else you guys want to touch on Andor before we move to She-Hulk?
Nope. Let's get to She-Hulk. She-Hulk, Sean's girlfriend. Let's go.
Somebody tag. So okay, Jen's going to a wedding, guys. I don't know how you guys felt about this episode. She's got her new drip on. She's becoming a bridesmaid, but she just wants her bridesmaid's like, hey, her bride is like, hey, just be Jen. I don't really want to deal with it. And I'm sure I'm gonna kind of kick it over to Big G right now, because we see Nikki and Mallory. They're talking to a guy who goes by the name Mr. Immortal. G, can you give us a little background about who Mr. Immortal is? Does he play a key role in the MCU or comics? Have you ever heard of him, G?
Yeah, he's a deep cut Marvel. He's a deep cut Marvel character. He's actually, his first appearance was in the West Coast Avengers, where they had a group that was posing as the Avengers, and one guy sort of like Mr. Fantastic. His power and his ability is that he can never die, and he actually can regenerate himself, but he can also give the ability for others to regenerate based on what he's willing to give up out of himself, right? But the reason why this guy's is such a deep cut as far as Marvel is concerned, because at one time he was actually married to Baroness Cromwell. Anybody that knows the Marvel comic books and Marvel characters, Baroness Cromwell was Dracula's wife. So he said his first wife was Baroness Cromwell, but this Baroness Cromwell is Dracula's wife, and he said it as plain as day. So I was like, yeah, there's some. They're laying a trail of breadcrumbs like you ain't never seen before. It's going to set a whole bunch of other stuff up.
Is that trail to Dracula, though, in your mind?
Without a doubt. Think about his name, Mr. Immortal. I mean, I call myself Mr. Immortal. Somebody done did some sorcery, some blood sucking. Something done went down to where this guy has got the ability to live forever. He can never die.
I think that's what happened. Literally, I mean, when he was with Baroness, I mean, there's nowhere that this is written, right? But I'm thinking when he was with Baroness, she found out that he was immortal because she probably tried to get him, and it didn't work. You know, she's like, you know, what happened to you? Well, I'm already immortal. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you know, the gist of the matter is, or Dracula got her after she was with Mr. Immortal, and because he got left gold and everything from her. So, you know, it could be that.
And the way they kind of introduce him, this episode especially had a very comical theme to it, a very lax theme, like feeling to it. They were like, oh yeah, yeah, and then he jumps out of the window, and you're like, oh dude, this dude's for real. And then and then he drops a nugget like Big G, what G said, and again, G, just great job with the we kind of have the crumbs, and you kind of are like, let me show you where the crumbs go.
Yeah. There's major. So just overall for the whole episode, there's more Easter eggs in this episode than all the shows that's been out there, the first 5. There's so much stuff going on in this; it's unbelievable.
Well, G, don't hold back on us. What else did you see? Let us know.
Well, what's the intelligentsia? Does anybody know what that group is or what they are? The intelligentsia?
Well, I'll say in the show, it's an app, and they're trying to cancel She-Hulk, which is I think is pretty clever, because in today's society, whether you want to admit it or not, there's a cancel culture out there where there's certain people out there who want to go back in your Twitter history, want to go back to something Mod said from 1940 or G said from 1968. You guys aren't that old. I'm just picking Nate. They're not that old, guys. They're not immortal. We don't have two Mr. Immortals on the show.
Right.
So,
but I mean,
but they touch into it.
The big cut about the intelligentsia is my guy, Dr. Doom, is a member. MODOK is a member. Egghead is a member. Okay, so let me paint this picture. We already know that the leader is coming back and he's going to be in Captain America 4. We know that, right? We know that MODOK is in Ant-Man Quantumania, right? We're about 90% sure that Dr. Doom is going to be in Wakanda Forever, the guy behind the scenes. And we also got Egghead, because Egghead is Ghost's dad. Like when you saw that scene at the end and all his hair got blown off, Egghead, Ghost's dad is Egghead. So you're going to see all of these characters come back, and that's the group I believe that Val is working for, tied to the whole AIM. You're going to see AIM, Advanced Intelligent Mechanics. You'll see that branch, and you're going to see Hydra, and you're going to see all these guys come together in the intelligentsia. So they're using it as like a face thing to pay attention to superheroes, because at the same time they're bringing supervillains together. So that's what that's all about. And the little frog that you see on there and all whatever else, that's the leader. Like, go back to the Hulk, blue-green, Mr. Green, Mr. Blue. That's the green guy. He's the frog. So I'm telling you, it's all just a setup, man. To really, there's something huge going on in the background.
Is G like a sleeper agent for Marvel? Because I know he does. I know you don't specifically know like 100% any of this, right? But the case you lay out, it's almost like you're in the room with Kevin Feige. It's like, we know Egghead. Egghead is Ghost. MODOK is Ant-Man. MODOK leads to Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom leads to Black Panther.
So what we're doing is and what G does a lot more than me, but we both do it together. This is literally how this show started. To give you marvelous history, he said something, and I told him Dracula's coming. Yeah, and the reason why I told him Dracula was coming is because he had been down in the rabbit hole for like 12 days straight, no air. He just and he was hitting me with all of this, and I was just getting blindsided with all this Marvel knowledge. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I stayed up in the recliner right behind me, and I was researching, and I said, man, this all points to Dracula. Gee, you know I'm telling the truth. So I knew Dracula was coming before they announced my guy who hunts Blade. Yeah. Mahershala. So yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, G got this. He'll normally have his finger on the pulse of everything, especially with bad characters and deep cuts. I ain't doing all that. You know what I'm saying?
I guess right now I feel like if G flipped his camera, there'd be like Dr. Doom's picture in the middle of a wall, and there would just be red. There'd just be red. I know, but there'd be like red strings attached to all the MCU projects. It looks like a stalker of Dr. Doom. Like, where's he gonna pop up? But I know he's right though.
But you don't even understand. You don't even understand. That's the next change for me as far as my background screen in the rabbit hole. The rabbit hole, you're going to have all these pieces stuck together, and you're going to see where it leads to this and leads to that. Check this out. The intelligentsia, even two members of them, was Dracula and Nathan Essex. You know who Nathan Essex is?
Leader of AIM, ain't he?
Nah, bruh. Mr. Sinister.
Oh, Mr.
Sinister.
You're right.
Is Nathan Essex. So
you
Nathan
got me thinking Iron Man 3.
Nah, Mr. Sinister is a member of the intelligentsia, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not gonna ruin the end part, but that we're gonna talk about it, you know.
Yeah.
So all roads are connected with Feige. You just got to know where to look.
So let me get back on track, because we just went down a rabbit hole. But whenever G's leading the hunt down Mount Wintergore, we kind of follow him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the like those prize pigs that hunt the truffles. You know that you're that, but like 100 times cooler and better.
Yeah,
so,
I got it.
I don't mean that in any disrespect. I'm saying you are on the pulse of things. You are like the prized possession of the Marvelous crew when it comes to hunting down these nuggets, these truffles, whatever you want to call them. But look, Jen's at the wedding. I just want to say this: the bride's horrible to Jen, but there's also kind of the sad moment in there where also Titania shows up, just a troll, and she's doing her best little Titania thing. But there's a moment where Jen's like, so everyone's so amazed with the She-Hulk, but no one's really amazed with Jen. And I don't know how you guys felt. I was like, it's kind of sad, but it's kind of true in a way. Where Jen's kind of falling back. And this episode is just Jen, attorney at law.
That's it.
And it was funny.
That's it. They gave us a theme even without us picking one.
Yeah.
But the issue was the girl wanted her there, but didn't want her there. She thought, okay, I want She-Hulk. Yeah, that's my girl. But she didn't really want her there.
But y'all, did y'all pick up in the end credits? Jen met her boyfriend.
Yeah.
John is a nice guy, I have to say. Is it John? I think
So the end credits, when you see the little pictures, they always do this. You got to pay attention to the pictures that they're showing in the end as the credits are going. And they showed like a little film strip of her and him in different places, like skiing and that nature, and them kissing. So she did meet her boyfriend. She definitely met somebody who liked Jen for Jen.
And I think Jen needed
that dude's a double agent, man. That dude's a double agent, bro.
But it's a
double agent.
Hey, G, you'd be a double agent too, apparently, if you had a superhero to date.
No, I'm not selling out Jennifer Walters.
No, you would treat her right. You would treat her right. I feel like G's the type of guy, even if she's Hulk, he would step in and try to defend against Dr. Doom or somebody. That's how highly I think of G.
I get disintegrated. Doom would disintegrate.
Hey, you're no Tim, bro. You actually you wouldn't snitch on nobody, okay?
No.
So Titania's there. She's like, Jen is overdrank, and Titania literally like punches her in the face, and then they start fighting. And Jen kind of, when we say, wipes the floor with her
again. Yeah.
And I feel bad for Titania, not just because her veneers are just destroyed and she looks like she bit a curb or bit into a nice block of cement. Titania's defeated once again, and I feel like this is the last time we're going to see her. Like, I don't think she's going to be this running gag of a character forever. Do you guys?
I think she's coming back. She's not a running gag. She's just allowing herself to be a running gag right now.
Some kind of way she's going to get enhanced. Some kind of way. I believe her, and I think the Wrecking Crew, you're going to see them get enhanced. I don't know if they're going to get Jen's blood, but some kind of way they're going to get enhanced.
Well, they allude to it at the end. There's no doubt about that. And right now, I feel like Titania is like Appalachian State, and Jen is like Alabama. Or sorry, she's Ohio State, the Ohio State.
Yeah, but Appalachian State ain't no punk.
They might be on the come. I mean, if Appalachian State, for instance, was playing Texas, well, you can't really rule it out. But right now, they can't compete with the Ohio States of the world or the Gens.
Yeah, I feel you.
This brother here, man.
Come on, I'm sorry. But at the end of the episode, like we said, they alluded to the fact that that they're definitely out for the blood, right? Is that a vibranium syringe needle?
It's something. I mean, we can't. We can assume that it's vibranium, but it's something. We can assume
because we know the regular metal syringe is no bueno on Jen.
Yeah, they tried to get up with that one, and that's why they showed you on the intro that whole thing. I believe that at some point Daredevil is going to stop. We're going to see Daredevil. I think he's going to intercede on her behalf. I think this is how we're going to see it.
Yeah. I don't know if it's adamantium or vibranium. And the reason why I'm saying adamantium and they just subtly bring it in, because the last time we saw a syringe like that was in the Fox Universe X-Men world. And Nathan Exus was going around and capturing people's blood, and they put it in a case. That case was the exact same case, except for this one has the danger pollution sign on the front.
Yeah, the radioactive.
The Essex case says Essex Court, but it's the same case. So I don't know if it's vibranium, adamantium. I don't know what it is, but it's something. It's something that's going to be strong enough to pierce her skin.
If this is the introduction to adamantium, that's insanity.
I mean, it could be, man. I mean,
we already got mutant. We got mutant in the last MCU show, didn't we?
We got a reference to Wolverine already in this show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which one?
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know if it's subtle, if they just dropping subtle Easter eggs about it, but it's something. But I know for a fact. I mean, I don't know. I ain't guessing. They said the intelligentsia on the show, and I know who the members. I know who the members of the intelligentsia are.
That's definitely a thing. The intelligentsia is a thing.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
so
they beat it home to they made it a point for you guys to like know, because they had the whole thing with Nikki, like, don't tell Jen. Just like Jen, she's like, oh my god, there was like this whole thing about the intelligentsia, and it was like, okay, clearly keep an eye on this. Clearly,
yeah, for sure. So I ain't doubting it. I ain't doubting it.
What I mean, dang, we're an hour in, man. But I mean, we've covered 4 episodes of MCU and Star Wars, guys. What did you think She-Hulk? 1 out of 10. Give it to me.
8.5, 8.8. People were saying that it was boring, but it introduced so many. It was a bridge. I keep telling you guys, it's a bridge. Marvelous Talk listeners, this is a bridge. We are connecting the dots, and it was so much that was really put out here, and I'm excited. So 8.5, 8.8.
7.5 for an episode, but the Easter eggs made it a 9. So the Easter eggs alone in this was unbelievable. So maybe that's just me because I'm that guy. I want to figure it out before I figure it out. So yeah, Easter eggs 9 without a doubt.
I'd go 7. I agree with you, G, 100% that the Easter eggs really propelled this thing, because without it, I thought it was boring. It was kind of dumb. It was it was the wedding episode. Jen alluded to it in the 4th person, or when she breaks the 4th wall.
Yeah.
So it was the week's episode to me. The Easter eggs there. I was really wanting Daredevil, but I think he's coming next week, and I feel like they didn't want to steal too much away from Andor, because I think Andor stole the show of our show and of these 2 shows.
Yeah, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt.
But anything else, guys, or that's it?
Nah, man. Great show, great episode, great talk.
Guys, I don't really want to do 4 episodes in one show anymore. It's a lot. It's a lot, man.
Yeah, but we can thank Disney for that. We can thank
Disney. Who does a 3-episode premiere? Just hit us with 2, please.
Yeah, we're gonna end up doing Andor again next Wednesday. We'll get on Andor next Wednesday, and then definitely get on She-Hulk on that Thursday. But listen, man, parting shots, you guys. What do we got before we get out of here?
I got something. Werewolf by Night is less than 10 days. And I'm telling y'all, on October 7th is the premiere of Werewolf by Night.
Time is flying.
And I'm trying to tell y'all, not less than 10 days, less than 14 days. And I'm telling y'all, it might be vampirish and old school movie, black and white and all whatever else. But I'm telling y'all, Werewolf by Night is not going to be a dud. It is not going to be a dud. It's going to be a good thing, and it's going to set up a whole bunch more stuff. So I like She-Hulk, I like Andor, but I'm really looking forward to Werewolf by Night.
I was a little scared for Werewolf by Night, because I think me and you, G, talked about it in Mod when we had the report that it's really bad. But I think they maybe cleaned it up a little bit. But guys, tune in for Andor, man. I think Andor is what the Star Wars universe needs. We need new stories, like G's been preaching, like Mod's been preaching. Let's stop revisiting the stories we already know. Let's build it out like the MCU. Let's get a WandaVision type show. Tales of the Jedi. Oh my gosh. We don't have time to talk about it because the show would go on for 2 hours.
Yes, and I'm waiting. I'm waiting patiently. And my parting shot is make sure you guys, man, we have definitely continued to build this platform, and it's for you and yours. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you share. Make sure you tell people, noise it abroad. Let them know, man, Marvelous Talk is on, and we are talking about your favorite. Every one of y'all is out there watching Marvel on the Disney Plus app. No, you are. You need to go ahead and do it. And I'm about to get off tonight and watch Rings of Power. And, man, I'm excited for myself, for Max, for Big G. We definitely love you guys. We thank you for rocking with us. Peace.